Tom Marks here with Robin Walker from Valve. Robin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
So congratulations, first of all. And I want to dig into kind of Half-Life Alyx, but also the future of kind of what you see as this medium, because Half-Life Alyx, its launch reminded me a lot of Half-Life 1 in a lot of ways, where it sort of came out and everyone was like, oh, like this is how VR games can be, in the same way that Half-Life 1 came out and like kind of changed people's perceptions of what a first-person shooter campaign could be. So I'm curious, from one of the people that sort of did what a lot of people see as push this medium forward, like what do you see as the future of VR kind of AAA experiences like this going forward?
You know, in those first few years, I think there was, we observed there was a lot of focus on the mechanics. How do we do things in VR? When we think of mechanics, there's sort of a conversation between developers and players, right? Like the way, we might think of some particular element of a first-person shooter as being solved in that both developers know sort of, the sort of standard way to do it, and players are used to that. And so you sort of both have to have been involved in the creation of those. And so, in those early years of VR, there's a lot of focus on how do we do those things again? How do we as developers put together potential solutions to those, and how do customers react to them? What ones do they sort of cotton on to? What do they like? One of the reasons we sort of moved to Alyx, or we felt like we were ready to start Alyx, was we felt like we were past that point. Like we could now, there was enough of the groundwork could be done on mechanics that we could really focus now on content. How do we build a game on top of these mechanics? Because as much as all of us developers love mechanics and solving them and so on, they're like big fun puzzles to work on, it's pretty clear from the history of video game sales that customers care about content a lot. I think more so than developers. I mean, they care about the mechanics that underlie that content, but at the end of the day, the content matters a heck of a lot. So we felt like Alyx, now we could really focus on that content. So I think, if I had to guess, I think the next few years we're going to see a bunch more of sort of other kinds of games come to VR and have that rich content in addition to just the mechanics. And then in between that, I would expect we're going to start seeing in the ways that as we did that translation of sort of Half-Life into VR, we're able to start seeing the ways in which VR could add to Half-Life.
It was very interesting to sort of see this other perspective, right, of what was traditionally a slightly smaller character than Gordon Freeman. Are you guys looking at any more ideas of like deep digging into that lore and that kind of side stuff of characters like Judith or anybody like that?
Not that anything we'd like to talk about. I mean, I think we've tried to build characters in Half-Life IP that stretch beyond just the sort of, being a combat buddy or something. And so I think that always affords us the opportunity to see what customers are interested in, what kind of conversations they're having, what kind of things they're theorizing or talking amongst themselves about, and let us respond to that.
And I have to ask, it's been a little bit longer since Alyx came out. Obviously, the ending, without spoiling anything, got a lot of people excited, got a lot of people sort of anticipating that some sort of follow-up to episode 2 might be hot on its heels. Can you tell us anything about that? Is that people just wildly speculating? Is that people getting too excited?
Well, I think hot on its heels might be a little bit optimistic. I think one of the things that was super rewarding about working on Alyx was to see that community reaction, both to the game itself, which we were super happy with at the end of the game. At the point we shipped it, we were very happy with what we created, and we were really excited for people to get their hands on it. The story, the in particular, sort of what happens at the end, was something that we were much less confident in. Perhaps not. We were confident in the choices we made and we really liked them, but we just, in terms of our ability to predict how people were going to react. And so, the reaction from people to the story and the narrative choices we made at the end have been really energizing is probably the right term. And so we're really excited to keep going there.